Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Studio Movie Grill evacuated late last night when a man's discovered sleeping in an empty theater with a loaded gun in his lap. The latest on who he was as the investigation continues.
And it was a dangerous night on the roads. How a van landed on top of a truck after a collision. More details on that just ahead.
And new information on a story we first brought you yesterday on Sunrise. How a Good Samaritan was able to stop a suspected kidnapping. This is Friday, December 20th, 2019. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Tabitha Mills on a finally Friday. We're all feeling that this has been a long week.
Yeah, the holidays are just getting to us, I guess. But let's turn it over to Kevin Sherrod, who has a look at your forecast.
Well, we're looking at a great Friday, but we are looking at some big changes as we head into the end of the weekend and into the Christmas holiday. Yesterday was a nice day. Our high temperature, 61 degrees above the normal of 56, and our record on that day, 80 degrees, and that was set back in 1981. Currently, we sit at 43 degrees in Bakersfield, an east-southeast wind light at 7. We'll see some high clouds today, and temperatures will be in the mid-60s by 3 o'clock, so nice afternoon ahead. Tehachapi, you're at 41 right now. You have an easterly wind at 10. As we take a look at the day, upper 30s by 7 a.m. and then 50s expected this afternoon. By 3 o'clock, that easterly wind at 13. Again, some changes on the way starting Sunday and beyond. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thanks so much, Kevin. And we're taking you outside this morning at Highway 99. And we're going to take you outside in just a minute. But first, we're talking about your commute this morning. Again, there are a lot of construction projects going around town, folks, so please beware of that. Leave a little extra time as well. Other than that, not much else to mention this morning here on Sunrise, so that's good news. And we'll have another check of your commute and a look outside coming up in about 15 minutes.
Well, we begin this morning with tense moments at Studio Movie Grill last night. The theater was evacuated after police say they discovered a man sleeping with a gun on his lap in an empty theater. Police were called to the theater on Callaway Drive just after 11. They discovered the man and evacuated moviegoers as precaution. When they made contact with the suspect, police say they discovered he was under the influence of alcohol, and that man was later identified as an off-duty Bakersfield police officer, 29-year-old Douglas Barrier. He was arrested for public intoxication. Police say the gun was loaded, and shortly after, moviegoers were allowed back in. BPD says Barrier is on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of an internal investigation.
New this morning, a suspected DUI driver caused a crash overnight that left two vehicles on top of each other. It all happened on Niles St around 1 a.m. CHP says the driver of a BMW made a turn in front of a truck driving the opposite direction. The truck hit the BMW, then went out of control and hit a van that was pulling out of the gas station. When the truck and van crashed into each other, the van ended up on top of the truck.
One party was pulled out of the vehicle, has minor injuries. The driver of the BMW was arrested for DUI.
The lanes in the area closed for a short time due to the crash. CHP reminds everyone to wear your seatbelt and not drink and drive.
An argument that started in the parking lot of a 99-cent store spilled into the road and ended in an accident. It happened last night at Niles St and Sterling Road. KCSO deputies say the disturbance started in the parking lot of the store. One of the people involved in the argument got in their truck and intentionally rammed into the other car. The other car flipped over onto its side. Deputies arrested the driver of the truck at the scene. An investigation into the accident is still ongoing. New details on a story we first brought you yesterday morning right here on Sunrise. We now know that the Good Samaritan who intervened on Highway 178 in what was originally called a disturbance was trying to stop a kidnapping. Bakersfield police say Fabian Prieto assaulted a woman and forced her into a car. As Prieto drove down the road, another person saw the woman struggling inside of the car and decided to intervene. Prieto got out of his car and pointed a gun at the Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan then hit Prieto with his car in self-defense. Prieto was arrested and taken to the hospital. BPD says the woman suffered minor injuries during the ordeal.
17 Court Watch this morning, and we have the latest on the Leslie Chance trial.
Detectives who have previously taken the stand in court were back yesterday, and 17's Vanessa Dillon was there and joins us with more details.
Well, the earlier part of the jury's day consisted of a tour to the locations that are seen as important to the case. The media was not allowed. But back inside the courtroom yesterday afternoon, all eyes were on a video recording conducted by detectives back in 2013, where both the defendant and her emotional father-in-law, Travis Chance, were seen weeks after Todd Chance was killed on August 5th. Among the detectives to take the stand was Kevin Kimmel. During his time on stand, the prosecution played a video recording of Leslie Chance and her father-in-law, Travis Chance, from August 29th of 2013. At the time, Leslie Chance was told by detectives she would be picking up her late husband's black Ford Mustang, but instead was arrested on suspicion of murdering her husband, Todd. In the video, you see an emotional Travis telling Leslie in between tears, quote, "I can't imagine something like that happened to Todd." Leslie rarely spoke in the video that was presented yesterday afternoon. At one point, she told her father-in-law she had asked detectives for Todd's phone so she could look through it to see if it had any leads to who killed him. Defense attorney Tony Lidgett argued the recording solely focused on the emotional response of Todd's father, arguing it was the prosecution's attempt to evoke emotion and empathy that might be held against Leslie. Detective Kevin Brewer also took the stand yesterday. Questioned by both the prosecution and defense, Lidgett asked Brewer if the shoes at the Chance residence had been compared to the prints at the initial crime scene. Brewer said they were not a match. As we reported during opening statements, prosecutors say Chance murdered her husband after discovering he had rekindled a romance with an old flame. The defense argues circumstantial evidence is not enough to prove Chance's guilt. Trial is set to resume today at 9:30. I'm Vanessa Dillon, 17 News.
5:06 now, an inmate who beat a convicted child molester to death at Wasco State Prison has taken a plea deal. 21-year-old Andres Ayon pleaded no contest yesterday to voluntary manslaughter in the death of 66-year-old Augustin Duran. Prosecutors say that Ayon beat Duran in July of last year and he died a day later. In exchange for his no contest plea, prosecutors dismissed charges of murder and assault against Ayon. Augustin Duran was serving a prison term of 55 years to life for lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14. Ayon, who was serving time for robbery, is set to be sentenced for manslaughter on January 23rd.
Education news now. A new partnership aims to provide scholarships to students of Mexican descent in Kern County. A kickoff event was held yesterday evening to announce a fundraising initiative through the Mexican Consulate in Fresno and the Youth to Leaders Education Foundation. The hope is to provide hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships to students attending a university or community college.
So we're here to invite the people to help us with this effort because there is some funds that the government of Mexico has provided, but we are also going to do some fundraising in the following six months. And that is the reason why we want to spread the word.
For more information on the new initiative, you can contact the Youth to Leaders program.
5:08 now. Governor Gavin Newsom visited Bakersfield yesterday. While he was here, he spoke of the importance of affordable housing and tackling homelessness in Kern County. The governor toured a Bakersfield apartment complex, which offers housing to homeless veterans and low-income families. After his tour, Governor Newsom spoke with a bipartisan group of local and state leaders. That includes Senators Shannon Grove and Melissa Hurtado and Assemblyman Vince Fong and Rudy Salas. Also a topic of conversation, the state budget. The budget allocated a $650 million to local governments for emergency homeless aid.
Can't do it alone. State vision for solving or ending chronic homelessness broadly, cannot be realized top down. It has to be realized bottom up in partnership.
The governor also spoke about the oil industry during his visit. For more on that, head to our website, kget.com.
Well, 5:09 now, and the wait is over.
Rise of Skywalker premiered last night. We were at theaters here locally to get a glimpse of all the excitement.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News with Maddie Jansen, Alex Fisher, and Kevin Charette with your Pinpoint Doppler forecast. This is 17 News at Sunrise.
Milk was 32 cents a gallon, gas 12 cents. And you could buy a brand new car for $500. The year was 1916, 103 years ago, which also happens to be the year Tabitha's great-grandma, Edith Mills, was born.
That's right. You may remember my great-grandma, Edith Maureen Mills. I told her story when she turned 100 years old. We've checked in with her every year since, and I've shared a little bit more about her. Well, this year for her birthday, she asked that I share a song she wrote.
Won't that be a happy time when we all get home?
That song, an original Edith Maureen Mills creation, captured on my cell phone, a profession of her faith, a gospel with a message she hopes to share with others.
About Jesus, about the Lord, and how great He is. That's the main thing. Just tell Him how great God is.
If you haven't met my great-grandma Edie, she was born December 9th, 1916 in Orick, Arkansas. She was one of 11 and grew up working in the fields alongside her mother and father. She'd eventually moved to Bakersfield, where she'd raised 5 children on her own, continuing to work in the fields, on the railroad, and in local hospitals, holding multiple jobs at a time, all to provide for her family. She is a remarkably strong and spiritual woman who we love deeply.
God just carries me right on through, and it's wonderful what God has done for me.
Now at 103, her voice is a little shaky, and it's a little harder for her to hear. Many things are beginning to fade, but her faith has not.
Now I'm gonna walk around to heaven.
She started writing songs like the one you heard at the beginning of this story to share her faith with others.
Letting them know that Jesus loves them. In spite of it all, He loves them. We'll walk around to heaven, never more on earth to roam, and won't that be a happy time when we all get home?
Okay, so her birthday wish is that country music legend Dolly Parton might hear her song and sing it once for her. It's a tall wish, but you just never know these days.
You never know.
You never know. And you can find the words to her song on kget.com if you're interested in just a few minutes. And I also have to say, some students at Downtown Elementary found out it was my great-grandma's 103rd birthday, and they wrote her a bunch of happy birthday cards.
That is the sweetest.
So thank you to Downtown Elementary. That was very sweet. She really
love it.
Those,
so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey, I hope Dolly sees it.
I know. 103
Amazing.
years. There you go.
5:23 now. 2 Toyota dealerships in Bakersfield want to help clear the county animal shelters and find new homes for hundreds of pets this holiday season. Bakersfield Toyota and North Bakersfield Toyota will pay all adoption fees at county animal service shelters today, tomorrow, and Monday. There are shelters in Bakersfield, Mojave, and Lake Isabella. Dealership owner Steve Downs says it simply brings him joy to see stray animals find new homes for Christmas. Kern County's animal shelters will be open today from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then Saturday and next Monday as well for this special pet adoption event.
5:23 now. Coca-Cola is facing backlash.
What the company said to teens about its drinks.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Coca-Cola is facing criticism for trying to convince teenagers and moms that its sugary drinks are healthy. That's according to research by the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. The journal analyzed internal documents from 2 Coca-Cola ad campaigns, the 2016 Summer Olympic Games in Rio and a 2013 brand campaign. The organization found that Coke was mostly targeting the 2 groups to its products to shift their attitudes. The 2013 ad sought to, quote, increase Coke brand health scores with teens. The 2016 campaign was aimed at teens and moms by enlisting young social media influencers to promote products. A Coca-Cola spokesperson says the company is cutting sugar in products around the world and doesn't market to kids under 12.
5:27, the countdown for Star Wars fans is finally over. The Rise of Skywalker premiered last night in theaters across the country, including right here in Bakersfield. Our digital content creator Marisol Maldonado caught up with moviegoers at Maya Cinemas.
I grew up with this movie. I grew up watching the originals on VHS, and then I grew up with the prequels, and now to see it end, I'm excited and nervous because I want to make sure it's done right.
I think all these stories, throwing different characters, different background stuff into this, different perspectives on each, faction, stuff like that. I think it's cool. I think it's finally going to show the defeat of the Sith, hopefully. That'd be cool.
And it's going to come together, and it's going to be a satisfying ending.